usually I'm having a lot of symptoms, and I'm not having those symptoms. So I can tell that things are changing. So these are just some dietary things that I'm changing and doing, and I'm feeling the difference. So I'm excited about it. Okay, so I've been talking about my history some with endometriosis, and the big flare-up I had last weekend. I am on a mission to figure this out, and it's been interesting. As I have shared what I'm going through, all of these women are coming out of the woodwork saying, I'm watching you, I'm watching everything you're doing. I want to know how to help this, how to, help improve these symptoms. A woman just yesterday came up and she said, I have 3 kids that are all in their 20s, and she said they're all going through massive health challenges. She's like, I don't understand it. They're in their 20s. They shouldn't be sick. This is when they should be the healthiest. And a couple of them are girls who are struggling mightily with endometriosis, PCOS, all of these problems that, I had never even heard the term PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. I had never heard of that until about 10 years ago or so. It wasn't a thing. So what's going on? Well, hormones are changing in our world. The way our bodies are processing it are changing in our world. All this stuff's changing. So let me show you what I'm doing. I'm doing a few things this morning. This is the first thing I'm doing. So I'm adding, this is called Anna's Wild Yam Cream. And here's the interesting thing about it. So someone on a comment to me recommended that I talk to a woman named Barbara O'Neill. Now, Barbara O'Neill ran, I think it was called Living Springs Health Retreat in Australia. She is phenomenal. Her knowledge is off the charts. It's always interesting to me. She's not an MD. She actually has no license. She's a health coach. Anyway, she has a phenomenal reputation. People have had amazing life-changing results. And one of the things she talks about is hormone balance. Well, here's the interesting thing about her. She was banned for teaching health for life in the country of Australia. Anytime somebody's banned, it always makes me go, wonder what they're teaching. I better go pay attention. So now she's teaching in Europe. Now she's teaching in the United States because she's banned in Australia. She can't teach there anymore. But she still recommends this Anna's Wild Yam Cream, which is actually from Australia, but they're sold out. People are buying this so much that they cannot keep it in stock. I found it at a place called Eden Valley Country Store. They had some in stock, so I got 3 bottles. I'm like, hopefully this will get me a few months of this. How am I going to use this? It's really interesting. This progesterone cream is not a progesterone cream. It's a wild yam cream, which wild yam provides precursors for progesterone. So rather than introducing something that our body doesn't recognize, it just stimulates our body to create the thing that it wants more of. You use it on the inside of soft tissue, so the inside of your elbows, your chest, your stomach, inside of your thighs, anywhere there's really thin tissue that it can absorb. You only use about 1/4 teaspoon a day. I'm actually going to start having my husband use it as well. Men just dip a little teeny pinky finger in and use that. Why my husband? Well, he's getting of the age where prostate problems are popping up, and we all have the same hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, just in varying amounts based on men or women. And at a certain age, they start to decrease. So we're going to see if we can pump it up in him, because we definitely he's been having some prostate issues, and I want to see if this can't help. Now, there's one other thing I'm going to be trying today, if I can get it charged. It's called Lumen. What this is it's a little, like a breathalyzer device right here. And what you do is you breathe into it, and it shows you what your metabolic systems are doing. Now, I've been learning a lot about estrogen metabolism and learning that I really need to bump up my metabolism, my metabolic rate for certain things. So this is going to show me, what am I actually metabolizing? What is my body running on currently? I'm really excited that it's a breath device that we can use. So it's really simple. You don't have to do a finger prick or a blood test or a hair test or a urine test or anything like that. You just breathe into it. So I'm going to try it out. I'm going to give it a try. I'll let you know what I find out and if it helps. All this stuff, I'm just going to keep telling you. I just want you to know, because I want everybody to get some results as well. I wanted to give you an update on what I'm doing with my dietary changes, with my lifestyle changes, to try to work on endometriosis. The first thing that I've been doing that I actually really quite enjoyed is this little device called Lumen. What it does is it measures the CO2 as you exhale. So you breathe in through it, you hold your breath, and then you breathe out through it. And it's measuring the CO2 levels. And what it tells you is, are you burning carbs or are you burning fat? Now, I am going to be the last person that's going to tell you to use a specific dietary guidelines like keto or low carb or high carb or any of the above. I don't follow any of that. What I do is I just think about what does my body need right now. There's carbs, proteins, fats, there's all of these things in all of our foods. What is my body asking for right now? What could it use? So at this point in my cycle, I'm trying to decrease estrogen. To be able to do that, I actually need to decrease my carb level. So I've been a little frustrated with my Lumen device here because there's a scale of 1 to 5. 1 means you're in fat burn, 5 means you're in carb burn. And I just cannot seem to get out of 5, regardless of what I'm eating. I'm not eating a ton of meat. I'm not eating, butter on a spoon, anything like that. But I'm just being conscientious of, am I making sure to have mostly vegetables, mostly fruits, fruits are carbs, obviously, but then adding some intentional protein items in. So let me give you an example. This morning, what I'm having is a bowl of plain yogurt with blueberries, carbohydrates. There's some carbohydrates in this yogurt as well. And with a little bit of nuts. I'm not a huge believer that we should be eating tablespoons full of nuts, nut butters, that kind of thing. Because if we were, they would be easier to harvest. They would be more plentiful, and they're not. They don't grow like the lettuce grows, where you can just go out there and pick it straight out of the field and eat it. It takes a lot more work. I think that's nature telling us you really shouldn't be eating that many of those. So I put just a tiny bit of nuts on here for an added layer of fat, just a little bit more fat, some healthy fats. I actually added some buckwheat, some chia seed, some flaxseed. They have some other components in there that I really like. So that's what I'm eating. It doesn't mean that it's keto or all fats or all proteins or anything like that. It's a balance, but it's heavier balance towards the protein and fat side than it is the carb side for breakfast. I'm super excited. This morning I woke up and I was finally in a 1. And I can feel it. I can feel it at this point in my cycle. Usually I'm having a lot of symptoms and I'm not having those symptoms. So I can tell that things are changing. So I'm actually really appreciating this Lumen device because it's giving me information that I can use to make lifestyle choices. That's really what I like these kind of measuring devices for. They're not dictating what I'm doing. It's just giving me information to then process and make a different choice based on what my body is doing, what it's needing, and it is making a difference. I've been quite excited about it. So let me tell you one other thing that's kind of interesting. Just yesterday, I was on a podcast and we talked a lot about fat-soluble vitamins. What those are vitamins A, D, E, and K, and they are only found in fats. So I have a thing for lunch today where I've got some greens, I have some blueberries. In that meal, there are no fats. There are no fats in greens. If there's any fat in blueberries, it's a tiny, teeny little amount. So that means in that meal, I'm not gonna get those vitamins, A, D, E, or K, because there's no fat source there, and those are only found in fats. So what did I do? I added some olive oil, good olive oil, to the top of that. It's gonna bring some of those, not all of those, but it's gonna bring some of those vitamins in. Now, this is something important to think about. When you're going, I grew up low fat. We're not supposed to eat that way anymore. They've debunked that whole idea. But we used to do things where we'd have fat-free salad dressing. Well, then we got no vitamins in that salad. There were interesting things. So I'm adding these good oils to things to help bump up those fat-soluble vitamins in my meals. Again, this is just science. It's just understanding the way it works and making choices based on what's actually true rather than just the fat of the month or the fat of the year when it comes to diet and nutrition. The other thing I'm doing is I made last night I made myself some chai tea, didn't drink it. So this morning I just heated it up again. It's nice and steamy coming out of there. And I'm going to add raw cream to the top of this. Now that is actually a little bit of a guilty pleasure. I'm super excited to do. I'm adding good proteins and fats when I do that. The raw cream makes it so that I don't have issues with absorbing the minerals that are in that dairy, which we do through pasteurized dairy. So these are just some dietary things that I'm changing and doing, and I'm feeling the difference. So I'm excited about it.